Hip-hop is a culture we've seen grown for 4 decades. We've seen many hip-hop artists lately have become influential and very successful in many arenas in our society. However, we have yet to see a hip-hop artist become a successful political official. Here we follow an artist who plans to change that and a lot more. Let's find out more about John Leslie Brown.
I'm a leadership consultant and an entrepreneur, and my goal is to raise the consciousness of a whole generation. And I'm passionate about changing the way that we do politics as a mature democracy. High Hopes, it's a campaign that launched about 10 years ago, and people call me High Hopes. It stands for Hip Hop Intellectual, Growing Higher, Helping Other People Everywhere Soar. My goal is to help other people to make a difference in their own communities. The two personas blend together when I'm out speaking with families. Adults, they like to hear speeches, people talking. The youth, they want to hear your music. They want to hear what you have to say over a beat. Yeah, everybody come close. I don't need the microphone if you want to hit us on the host. Everybody come close. I don't need the microphone. Galen told me I could be the host. Everybody come close. Campaign, let me know that you here. Say me something real quick. Everybody on the close. This is, hold on, just so you know, my name is High Hopes. High Hope, I'm running for governor and I need the vote. When I say high, you say hope. When I say high, you say hope. We might get signed to Interscope. High Hope, High Hope, High Hope. And these are my votes. High Hope, High Hope, High Hope. Don't forget to vote now. Let me explain. The cat's to my left hand and my right hand. It's your left, you know what I'm saying. Right to the right, we got my campaign. That's my cousin, my right hand.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he needs your vote. Really, give him a quote. So many. He's a speaker. This is what he does. Oh, listen to the speaker. While the speakers are off, it's High Hope. He's running for governor, yeah, no joke. High Hope. You can really get the ballot. Do that shit while you're eating the salad. High Hope. It'll be delicious. He'll vote. And he'll be the High Hope. Yeah, High Hopes, you got him. You gotta have him there. If you don't, you got him. High Hope.
And we living like California's got them. I don't care, I'ma hold it in my hand cause I know the people I got them. High Hopes, you know what I'm saying? And you know we been too low for too long. High Hopes. Pick it up like we need to do the homeless population. High Hopes. Oh yes, you know you didn't think I was prepared to lead our nation. High Hopes. Hip hop intellectual, going higher, helping other people everywhere. So High Hopes. That's what it stands for. That's what it stands for. That's what it stands for. High Hopes. Hip hop intellectual, going higher, helping other people everywhere. So High Hopes. Ask me if I'm about to get the Fitzgerald some more.
I'm speaking at another event. They're trying to find it, but I'm running for office.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm running for governor of California.
Congratulations.
And so, yes, I'm working to create a 100-year plan for America.
Okay.
For small business owners and a 100-year plan for California, starting there. So
that's impressive, man.
Yeah, thank you. So it seems like I might need to know you. It is. It is.
You know, a fresh face, some new ideas, and you know, it's not part of the established political machine, ready to do something different for the people. I mean,
exactly.
We need that right now.
We need that, and there's so many things that can be done, so I got these leader lenses, okay?
Okay.
This is what we need. Just imagine all the leaders from around the world connected with this culture, and this is QR code, so that's what we need, quick response. So now, anybody that wants to participate in the campaign, they can if they got some leader lenses. And that becomes something that we can use this to help create mass micro businesses, you know?
One of the speakers here running for governor of California, and you were mentioning leaders. That was a good point. And I was thinking about the leader lenses. Where's my leader lenses, man?
I got you covered.
I guess we're going to hear from Les Brown. Let's give a round of applause for John Leslie Brown.
One of the most profound statements I've ever heard was a statement by what will become our 40th president. He said, "A great society must be a free society. And to truly be great, and really free. It must be a creative society, calling on the genius and power of its people. Legislation alone cannot solve our problems, nor will they disappear under a shower of tax dollars. The gold of the Golden State can be found in its people, the largest pool of technical skill, talent, and ability in all of the world. We have the opportunity to demonstrate to our sister states, to an entire nation, that government should be of, as well as by, and for the people. I'm happy to be on this stage today and in this room because I'm here with the people. What is it that makes us a great society? What is it that makes us a free society? Well, it is our creativity. And California is the place where creativity can be rewarded without limitations. California is the place that was built up not by the permanent political class, not by partisan debates, but by artisans. Everybody say artisans. Say it like you are an artist. Say it like that you are a person that understands that artists are the ones that taught us about the power of massive collaboration. You know how much it takes to go into one film, one production, one animation, one scene. You cannot do it by yourself. And the problem with leadership, most people think that you can become a leader if you get a title thrown at you. No. Leadership is not about title. True, authentic leadership is about pulling the greatness out of everyone around you, even if you have to kick it with or do it kicking and screaming. It's to see the best when things get difficult. It's to keep your cool when times are stressful. It's to forgive your friends. Right now we're in a time where friends and family are the only ones that we can count on. And we are starting what we call the first family of California, where we start to look each other as a family of artists and artistpreneurs. And we start to do whatever it takes to collaborate, to start to make sure that many generations from now, people will still be able to afford to make a film in California. Many generations from now, we aren't just walking past homeless people on the street. And we're not just trying to give them a fish sandwich, we're teaching them how to open up a Chick-fil-A. And that does not happen with someone with a fancy speech or a title. That happens with nurture-up economics. I believe in top-down leadership, trickle-down leadership, where you start off at the top of the ticket and you model authentic communication, and nurture-up economics, where we look at what it's going to take to prepare the next generation of leaders. And that is going to require three things: a governor that can disrupt, that can innovate, and that can create real change. And this election cycle, I just want you to ask one question to yourself. What was it that qualified an Ed Zuckerberg's baby boy to start Facebook and to launch a communication platform that could bring the world closest together? Every once in a while, someone comes along to disrupt, to innovate, disrupt the permanent political class with some new solutions and ideas, to innovate with a 100-year plan and launching the first family of California. You can only get these leader lenses in California first. And then to create real change. And real change is not with a new title or a new person in office. It's with forming new tribes. And as a tribe, we've evolved. We've challenged and we've survived some of the biggest challenges of humanity. And it's the artisans that brought us closer together. And California, we're a family. And I look forward to being a part of the first family of California.
1, 2, 3.
How important effective communication skills are.
How important it is to upgrade your relationships.
Remove toxic people from your life.
Continue to persevere.
Life-changing mindset.
Stop procrastinating.
Be your dreams.
I'm a leader.
Took a small fire and turned it into a dragon's breath roaring. Wonderful experience.
Take action.
Uh-oh, they locked the front on us. We gotta go around. Uh-oh, there we go. How are you, sir? How are you?
The camera's following you. I better
yes,
get out
sir.
the way.
You know, John Leslie Brown.
Right.
You know, thank you very much.
Greet you correctly.
You know,
Come in with the
John Leslie
John
Brown.
Leslie Brown.
High Hopes' campaign.
Camera crew.
you know, we got to do it right for the high. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. How are you tonight? Uh-oh.
What's your name?
I'm John Leslie Brown.
John Leslie Brown?
Yes. What's your name?
Annie.
Pleasure to meet you, Annie.
Something good for this year, you know, just bring the funk, you know. All you need is bass and drums and a little vocals, right?
A little vocal.
And it's on and popping.
This is how we do it in Cali, y'all. This is my cousin Campaign.
Campaign?
Incredible singer.
Oh my God.
Incredible singer.
We're gonna have an open mic.
All right.
We gotta do something. We're gonna sing. Let me know. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back. This is my guy. He's fabulous. He's the king. He's the king.
That's the guy. Yo, I got bars for these stars and we moving like trooper. It seems like it's time to take our kids out the stupor. We don't stoop, we rise for change. We don't stoop, we rise for change. We don't stoop. That's hard.
Ridiculous, y'all. Just ridiculous.
Ridiculous!
No words. Just funk.
Mindset, and you give and foster a child with unlimited potential. And you tell that child, you know what, you are absolutely limitless.
I'm here
and
with
they watch you
and they watch
live limitless.
Live limitless.
You know what?
I'm here with the Dean's List right here. We got all A-list actors and singers and producers right here. Let me get out the frame. We got Campaign, you know, Cam Alexander Talbert. We got Mika Fitzgerald, MC extraordinaire. You've seen him on The Walking Dead. You've seen him on Westworld. You've seen him on Him Record. You've seen him on all the above. You've seen these guys. And these are my pals here now. Mika, Cam was just talk to us about how we grew up, man.
Well, John Leslie, see, we were having a conversation about Alan Watts.
Yes, Alan Watts.
He was saying that his roommates was telling him, like, man, if you listen to one more Alan, you're gonna become Alan Watts. And John was saying, you know, that's what he came up with, because he did, since he was a little guy. Since I've known John since he was a little guy. I mean, he was always, you know, on that, you know, and his father raised him and had him on certain things. He had things memorized before he memorized his addresses. He had a lot of addresses. Got moved around everywhere, but seriously, like, Alan Watts, you had it. Like, you grew up on certain motivational principles and they're instilled. It's your DNA. It's like, this is what it takes when you want to be great. You have to practice at things. You have to be a magnet. You know how you can rub a magnet on some metal and the metal becomes magnetized? You've been magnetized, you know what I mean? Your father magnetized you.
You magnetized. Let me tell you, I left all of that to hang out with this guy.
because
That was done. It was done a long time ago. Your
long
legacy
time
was
ago.
real a long time
But
ago.
no. Let me tell you something. When
It's
this
already-
guy,
it was already done.
when Cam was a baby,
You just fulfilling it.
how old were
It's
you
already
when you
done.
first toured China? How old were you when you first toured China?
Never. I never went to China.
Did you ever tour
Japan. I went to
international?
Japan in the 2nd grade.
Okay.
That's what you're trying to say.
Excuse me. How old were you when you
You don't
toured
waste no
Japan?
I went to Japan in 2nd grade. I don't know how old are you in 2nd grade.
Okay. 7. So let me just tell you my story. I left my motivational speaking world because hip hop brought me in. And what was my first rap name? What was my first rap name? Let's see how much you know me. Let's see how much you know me. What was my first last name, Campaign?
Oh shit. I'm a fiend that's addicted to the green. I'm a fiend that's addicted to the
Diplomatic.
The diplomatic fanatic.
Diplomatic, but it's the diplomatic fanatic. My rhymes are intelligent, my style is elegant. I will let you talk with what you say.
Wait.
is
Do it to the
irrelevant.
beat. Do it to the beat. Come on.
I got you. I can't. It still was on beat. My rhymes are intelligent, my style is elegant. I will let you talk with what you say is irrelevant. I got you hooked on phonics. My flow is more hysterical than phonics. Yes, it's more hysterical. So Cam was the one that taught me about hip hop. He taught me the word to regulators.
Oh, really? No way.
And he was the first person that I met from California that was a bona fide star. And so that's who I wanted to pattern my life after. Except for I couldn't sing, and I couldn't rap, and I knew nothing about hip hop, and I couldn't act. So whatever Cam wanted to do, he wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be an actor. He wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be a singer. Whatever he wanted to do. So he know when you say Alan Watts, he know because before there was Alan Watts, I was just like, listen, and it's because he had that star power. Now, this is how he was influenced. His mom toured with Jesse Jackson with Operation Breadbasket. She was one of the
The Piperettes?
The Piperettes.
You went, okay, yeah.
Operation Breadbasket, right?
Jesse Jackson, yeah.
They're doing a documentary about her life and her story now and that. So, but when he was born, she came to California to pursue her dream, and guess who she ended up working for? Smokey Robinson. As the backup singer, in studio, on tour for Smokey Robinson for over 20 years. And he was a baby. So who taught him how to drive a car? Who taught you how to drive a car?
Smokey definitely came to my house when I was like 16, and he let me drive his car.
It was a limo. Tell him the truth.
It was a Mercedes.
It was a Mercedes limo.
Some type of thing.
Mercedes.
He let you drive. Okay.
Yeah. That's right. It's just me and him. So yeah, it was definitely an epic situation. And I was old enough to know. I was just old enough to know that I have Smokey Robinson. And I mean, this is my Uncle Smokey since I've known since I was a baby. But I was old enough to know how legendary he was. And so I was really scared because it was just me and him. So I was like, if I crash or do anything right now.
Big Joe.
But then again, there was no smartphones back then. So it never went viral.
So let's go back. You talked about me and Les Brown and that's motivation.
You know they're not gonna hear any of this.
No, they are. It's okay. Everybody say that right now. On three, we're gonna say na 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 na. Come on. Na 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 na. Hold on. The weekend wake us up. Na 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 na. Come on. Let me do the countdown. We do it right now. And we ain't playing. Point up to Caleb. Oh, shouts out to the birthday. Kelly on the birthday. We see the girls on the floor. I've been doing this since the chorus came out. I've mean, this car came out. I'm like a Fuji. And this music moves me. Somebody ready for the bass? High hopes in the place. Campaign on the stage. Yeah, Micah, Nika. You can see him in your theater. I sing around. Everybody sing it. Now when I pass it to the right, my cousin Campaign is gonna sing on the mic. Hey, here you do it up right here for my man on the drum fills. Shouts out to Windsor Hills. We out here chilling. You know what it is? Somebody there grilling. I wish there was, cause I'm kinda hungry. But it's all good, yo. Shouts out to money in your pocket. Hope you got it. This is what it is here. Pull it out your socket. Throw your hands in the air. Say yeah, this is what it is. I'm right here. Been doing this as a kid. This is what I do with my crew. This the homies right here. What you do? Go ahead. Put your hands in the air. Like you don't care. Like you got long hair. Like you don't know what to do. Except there was this point that I was about to say. Go grab that joint. Throw your hands in the air like locks in the drop top. I've been motivating since I got it from my pops. And they don't stop. Even when the locks is locked. I came through. I broke the locks. I broke the block. Came through. I love the cops. We love the cops. Yes, now we broke the block. Forget the colors. I love sisters and brothers. And this is what we do it for one another. Na 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 na. Some freestyle. Hey, we ain't done this shit in a while. We gotta do this. Go, get down. We out here dancing, having a ball, having a good time. Go ahead, go express your mind. What you got to say now? It's John Leslie Brown. High hopes. Go ahead, man. Give me pounds. I feel like the night has just begun. I wanna turn that music down and hit them drums. Shouts out to Felicia, number one. And you know this. Right on the stage with the fun. You know I go back with the coy. I'm the real like Jack McCoy, Law and Order. I'm sick of my kids going to slaughter. Makers come through, tell them what they are. I tell ya, players don't stop trying to fill ya. Rip while your players don't stop till I get ya. I chop with the game, don't stop, rip ya. I am on shit, nothing's motherfucking picture. You can see me though, with the cold flow. Don't stop, still smoking on this cold throw. Fuck them all, in the sky, till it gets, till I die. Hey, don't even try. I got the microphone, open up your third eye. Oh, I can see real clear. Yeah, I'm right here. What's the fucking year? It's 2013. 4 more years. Add that shit up. Come on, I'm with your peers. Right here now. Open up both your ears. I'm trying to look you right in your clear. Clear rising. You can't mess with me and my squad. I roll with y'all. Hey, come on.
I roll with y'all. Come on. He said, nah.
You can't mess with me and my squad.
I roll with y'all. Come on. Hey.
Till you blows up, till your mind kinda shows up. Don't stop, gotta leave them go stuck. You can see him with this leader lens. And don't stop, tired of your bullshit friends. I tell you it's time to throw a party. And don't stop, back to players acting naughty. Baby's loving how I throw body. That shit don't stop, up a hottie. Still gone, in my own damn zone. Blown, till y'all leave me alone. Boom, till I try to hit them gone.
Yo, they don't really hear you. They still checking their phones. They gon' wait next week till they see you on the Game of Thrones. They need to Google you, check your resume. This is Mika Fitzgerald, Campaign on the stage. I'm High Hopes, let me change your ways. I ain't talking about the apps, I'm from the other block. I'm B54th and Crenshaw, we in the spot.
Good evening, beautiful people.
We live with Wyclef Jean here on the guitar. Number 1 in your message box if you love the physical.
You're pretty, it makes me happy, right? So thank you for being pretty. My name is Jean-Luca Gibbons. You can find me online at Jean-Luca Gibbons, Gianluca Gibbons, all right?
got to have a special performance on the guitar by Wyclef, one of our favorites.
G-A Gibbons, Gibbons. This is an Italian name. I'm not Italian. I just got creative parents. All right, thank you so much, though. Much love, much love.
Yo. Yeah! They call my voice the marijuana voice, man.
We love you,
Yo, man, my microphone sound nice like Frank Sinatra, man.
Yeah!
Yo, listen, if y'all see I'm a little low, you know I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Y'all already know. We support Bob Marley 100%, you dig? We just coming from the Cannabis Cup right now. So we a little faded, man. I mean, I had to stop out here for my nephew, though. Real quick, Hakeem, so.
We love you, Wyclef!
Yeah, passing from the Cannabis Cup. Had to stop by Hakeem, give him some love. Cause if I was president, I'll get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, on Sunday. Then on Monday, everybody goes back to work like nothing happened. Oh, it's just an ordinary day. But I could be the president, he could be the president, and she could be the president. If I was president, if I was the president, yeah. A man said he gon' build a wall and have Mexico pay for it all. I called up my Mexican friends. They said, Wyclef, we ain't gon' pay for shit, yeah. There's a riot every week, and the people on the street, everybody, man, they living on the edge. You could be the next Donald Trump. He won the competition. Hillary, she put up a competition. I was smoking weed with Bernie Sanders. He should have won the competition, yeah. Y'all should have voted for me, yeah. Vote for me, yeah. Wyclef for president, yeah.
We live in the house.
If I was president, I'll get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, yeah. Then on Monday, everybody goes back to work, yeah. Like nothing happened. Oh, it's just an ordinary day, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah!
I just want all the kids to know that online they call me Wyclef Jeffrey, but I am not Young Thug's uncle. That's my little homie though. It's great to see the new generation follow the vibes, you know what I mean? Like, every time I make a run, girl, you turn around and cry. I ask myself why, oh why? See, you must understand, oh, I can't work all night tonight.
It is officially official. We have gotten the package. We are compliant with the laws in our state, and we are set up a bank account for the campaign. Locally, in our own community. You work local, but think global. I'm so excited, and I got so much great help here today from my B of A agent. Peace. See you at the top or from the top.
Aaron Lovely, and I just had the honor of hearing John Leslie Brown speak for the very first time. I mean, I've heard his dad, love his dad, but it was so incredible. And you know, it's so interesting. He spoke about the Harvard effect, and my paternal grandmother and grandfather graduated from Harvard, and Radcliffe. My grandmother was just, and in the 1920s, you know, just out of China. It was unheard of, and so it really touched my heart to hear about Harvard and how he spoke there. But everything he's saying about having the dynasty, he talked about the dynasty, it was so empowering to think long term. But here's what really got me. I mean, everything about the Harvard Effect was fantastic, but he was saying that we're beyond where we are. Like, that's what I needed to hear. That was genius, because you can't sit there and motivate. He's talking about you can't go to Harvard and like talk about motivating yourself. These are some of the highest, most motivated people on the planet. But what else? And he talked about a 100-year plan and what else? So we're already here, but now where else are we going? Like, what's out there? Because we're already here and we're beyond where we are right now. We're stretching to the next thing. And that's what really ultra motivated me. And he really helped me to speak from my heart, and then not be afraid to like be all up in, you know, cause that was like, his energy is one of the most incredible things for me. So my gosh, I could just go on and on and on, but it was really about being beyond where we are and stretching for that. So I just want to thank him for his energy and what he's doing, and it really personally motivated me because I'm actually a life coach myself, and I'm always looking to grow and get beyond where I am to the next thing. And what about my dynasty and my 100-year plan? So that said, thank you again, and I'm looking forward to staying connected with him and really working together. And also, I need new hip hop music. John Leslie Brown. Okay.
Everybody say High Hopes. High Hopes. See, they call me High Hopes because I think I can turn my lyrics into legislation and my poetry into policy. So everybody say High Hopes. High Hopes. So this song that I'm going to do is called March. And if you don't know how to rap, anybody in here know how to rap? Yes. I don't sing, I rap. I'm a hip hop artist. High Hope stands for a hip hop intellectual growing higher, helping other people everywhere soar. And so I believe if you can turn on the radio and learn how to be a thug, you should be able to turn on the radio and learn how to be a thinker. And that's why they call me High Hopes. Okay, so on the hook, the hook is just March. Everybody say March. 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 Oh, let's get the rhythm right. Okay, hold on a second. When I point, everybody say March. 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 That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march. Okay, all right, play that beat right there. Let that play. You got it? Can you hear me? Okay. Sometimes you gotta march with greatness, yeah. Picture this brown kid in the principal's office, talking principles like the Prince of Zimbabwe. Chubby baby boy, blue Steve Harvey suit. Now the world wants to know who can stop this family feud. I'm a leader, I'm an activist. These other rappers, actresses, lying about their packages. Never sold a package jacket. Jill went up the hill to fetch some pails of white. Jill never came down, Jack. I get upstate. Emotional real estate. I sympathize with the other side. Maybe that's what makes me foolish in my father's eyes. Maybe that's why I might just catch a homicide. I'm Jack Bauer, fake my death and came back to life. Imagine if Machiavelli was the head of state. Maybe he could have saved Kwame from his fate. They killed Patrick's when you this real at it. That's my only dream, and I don't feel no fear factors. March, march, march. That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march, march, march. Yeah, march, march, march. That's why we march, march for greatness, for freedom. Yeah, we're marching. That's why we march, march. Independence Day, punching aliens in their face. Why we treat these immigrants like they from outer space? Stuck in the days, cause the night is pitch dark. Tell me why they 106 forget. Rosa Parks, better deeper to talk, the better off you are. Pay attention to this next generation, losing patience. Keep marching with me, baby. I'm in the presence of greatness. Keep marching with me, baby. You're in the presence of greatness.
My name is John Leslie Brown, and I'm a 2018 candidate for Governor of California.
John Leslie Brown.
A great society must be a free society. And to truly be great and really free, it must be a creative society. I'm the candidate, yeah, I'm the candidate. You hear the manifest,
If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it. And if you'll gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it. And if you'll simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither poverty or cold, sickness and pain of body and brain can keep you away from that thing that you want. If dogged and grim, you besiege and beset it, with the help of God, you will get it.
Yes.
Turn to someone on the right and left of you and say, with the help of God, you will get it.
With the help of God, you will get it. With the help of God, you will get it. With the help of God, you will get it.
We are here because all of us have in our hearts one thing in common. That thing is change. Everybody say change. Change. Change does not happen by itself. Change requires authentic leadership. Yes. Change requires an authentic vision. Yes. Change requires people that are willing to go above and beyond. The people that are willing to do the things today that others won't do in order for them to have the things that others won't have tomorrow. Yeah. And I am grateful for you for not just showing up and being in your seats, but for supporting our nonprofits, our civic organizations, because government cannot solve all our problems. People provide solutions. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give our nonprofit partners a round of applause. We see flicks for scandal. We see flicks for drama. But if you are here because you are committed to making sure that in your lifetime the world will see a new budding industry, and that industry is based off of your commitment tonight. Everybody say flicks for change. And sometimes you can't just talk about change. You can't just wish about change. You have to turn your wish into a march. Say, everybody say march. March. So before I get off this stage, I'm going to teach you how to rap. Because when you wish, your wish is the representation of your willpower. And your willpower is the beginning of change. See, there's mindset, there's skill set, and then Eric Thomas, a good friend of mine, he talks about will set. Everybody say will set. Will set. In order for us to take this concept, this domain, this portal, this community to the next level, you can't just watch these fantastic films that you're about to see. You have to be a part of the movement. You have to use your will set to march. Everybody say march. March. Okay. The hook is like this. When I point to you, you come in. Okay? March. 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 That's why we march. 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 That's why we march. 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 That's why we march. March. Your time. Come on, ready? March. March. Y'all a little off beat. Let's go back a little bit. Is this thing on? Let me hold it closer. Let me hold it closer. Can you get your leader lenses to come help me out? Let's do this again. The founders of the program. Okay, let's go. All right, security, let's get some leader lenses up here. We got the These are for leaders who are willing to march. Okay, let's go. Please, thank you very much. We got this. No beats. All right. This is for those activists. Thank you very much. No beats. You got your leader lenses on day.
Get more. And then we got to do the hook. I need y'all to keep, y'all got rhythm, bro.
He's got more than me.
Okay. Here we go. So we're going to do the hook, and they come in second. We got to show them that leaders do not have a voice unless they have collaborators. And you are the leaders of this program.
Yes, sir.
Everybody give the leaders of this program a round of applause. Nothing happens without leadership. And people provide solutions. So yes, you and me, we gonna show them. We gonna go march, march. It ain't your turn yet. March, march, march. That's why we
march, march, march.
That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march. Now, march, your turn.
That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march.
Everybody stand up.
March. That's why we
stand up.
March, march.
Stop rapping. Listen, stop rapping and listen to the words. And when I come back in the hook, y'all know what to say. Come on. Picture this brown kid in the principal's office, talking principles like the Prince of Zimbabwe. Chubby baby boy, blue Steve Harvey suit. Now the world wants to know who can stop this family feud. I'm a leader, I'm an activist. These are the rappers, actresses. Lying about their packages. Never sold a package. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch some pails of white. Jill never came down. Jack got sent upstate. Emotional real estate. I sympathize with the other side. Maybe that's why I'm foolish in my father's eyes. Maybe that's why my mic just catch a homicide. I'm Jack Bauer, fake my death, they came back to life. Hold on, imagine if Machiavelli was the head of state. Maybe he could have saved Kwame from his fate. They killed Patrick's, when you're this real at it. That's my only dream and I don't feel no fear factors. March, 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 that's why we march, march, march. That's why we march, march, that's why we march. March. Say it again. March. Streets for change. March. March. We're changing the vision. March. March. We're changing the screen. March. March. We got the solutions. March. March. Stop. Independence Day. Punching aliens in their face. Why we treat these immigrants like they from outer space? Stuck in the days. Cause the night is pitch dark. Tell me why they 106 forget Rosa Parks. Well, the cheaper the talk, the better off you are. Pay attention to this next generation, losing patience. Keep marching with me, baby, I'm in the presence of greatness. Keep marching with me, baby, you're in the presence of greatness. Prohibition, so your preachers got me on a mission. Impossible is nothing when you got collaboration. And too much conversation to break the concentration. Can't turn the Congress into my congregation. Woo! March, march, march. That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march, march, march. That's why we march. California, we are marching different change. Give yourself a round of applause. John Leslie Brown here, your governor, and I'm here with the Concerned Citizen, and we're developing the 100-year plan for California. And so, Mr. what's your name again? Antonio Garcia,
Yeah.
excuse me. Antonio Garcia, let the people know, what's your 100-year plan for California?
Well, my 100-year plan for the state of California would be that it is the most business-friendly state in the entire country, and that no company would ever think about leaving California for a better deal.
Wow, this is why we need to put the power back into people's hands. Now talk about what's some of the reasons why California is not the best business-friendly state. Why are we at the bottom 5?
There's a lot of reasons. There's too much regulation. We overtax our businesses. In many states, when a business wants to invest and they bring equipment into this state and they've paid for that equipment, they now just use it. In California, we charge them 1% every year just to have that equipment in our state. Now, if you're manufacturing something and you've spent billions of dollars on equipment, do you want to spend another $100,000 every year in taxes that do nothing?
No.
No.
That's thinking that money can solve all of our problems.
No.
But what it does, it pushes businesses away.
It does.
And over 10,000 businesses and the jobs that go along with those businesses have left California in recent years. And
it's not just the big companies like Toyota. You know, when Toyota leaves and all those jobs go somewhere else, then all the supporting jobs go away with them. The restaurants, the clothing stores, the service industries, they all go too, because you know that one major employer had 100 smaller businesses that it supported.
Exactly, and that's why. See, I believe in trickle down leadership and nurture up economics. Okay, where you've got the best leaders at the top of the ticket, so you can model great behavior, but you focus people. You know, you focus in the key areas that need it the most. People at the bottom of the pyramid who we really need to nurture and make sure that we have the skills for the new economy. A lot of times I hear people talking about, okay, jobs. But however, if you do not have the mindset and the personal responsibility to be prepared for this new economy, the jobs that went overseas aren't coming back. Is that right?
No, jobs that completely leave the country are unlikely to come back, especially if that company has already invested in training people there.
Exactly.
Right? So they're not going to want to come back and train people here if they've already trained someone somewhere else. So you need to be responsible to train yourself.
Yes.
And then the opportunities will be available.
Yes, because the government's job is not to give you a job. Government doesn't create jobs.
No.
Entrepreneurs create jobs, and entrepreneurs are hurt when they cannot afford to actually feed their own families, get their inventory, deal with the taxes and regulation, instead of being the creative innovators that create wealth and that can use that wealth to create generational wealth. And did you know that 70% of wealth is gone by the second generation, and only 90% by the third? And so we need a long-term, durable, sustainable plan. That's why I'm so happy that you paint that vision. So 100 years from now, you hold it from us.
100 years from now, California is going to be the most business-friendly state in the entire country.
Boom! Right there. This is the first 100-year plan. We are at the CRP. John Leslie Brown, thank you so much.
Can't help but say this could be our future governor. I know, John Leslie Brown. Whether you will or won't be a future governor, campaign person, get to do a whole campaign. Right, because you could probably talk for hours and have this crowd in your hand. But he is certainly an offbeat candidate with a different message and a different voice, right? So I want to just address some of what was here. Well, I've been very effective, from stuff I've done with Leda Steinberg about the inequities around the criminal justice system, particularly when it comes to blacks versus whites, but just in general, the mess. Your thought?
Okay, number one, let go of my mic.
I'll let you go.
First of all, in 1849, there was this thing called the gold rush. In 1850, California started. Okay? That's what drove people out here. But you know what the gold rush became when I was a child? Hollywood. The film industry. I was just at Cannes Film Festival, and Netflix was not allowed there, not allowed to compete. I wonder, how do you feel about that as independent filmmakers? What's your 100-year plan for the film industry? Because in the past 25 years, technology has disrupted the film industry, and we have to make sure that as artists, it takes a lot to go into a film. We want to make sure that we support you to make sure that you're compensated for your time and energy. So what can we do? And as your governor, it seems like we're losing so much of our film industry to Detroit, to Arizona, to other places around the world. How can we make sure that the film industry stays where it started, right here in California?
Well, I will let that get answered, but man, that was a professional political redirect from the justice system.
Hey, Rob, we do have a number of filmmakers on the panel, and
no, I want to
if that's something that you guys would like to speak on, feel free. Well, back to Rob, Mike, do you have any thoughts on that about independent filmmaking and what you'd like to say?
As you know, our story is an Arizona story. Frank still lives in Arizona. We were lucky enough to shoot his story in his hometown. And John, who's the son of one of the characters in the movie, we were able to shoot in his hometown as well, where we kind of honor his father as well. But there are a lot of other stories that are Arizona stories that are being shot in Nevada and New Mexico and Utah and even as far south as Mississippi, and we have Louisiana and Georgia, and anywhere but Arizona, because they don't have a tax incentive. So one of the things with the Arizona Film Commission was trying to honor us and thank us for keeping it in Arizona. I think California has the same thing. Everyone's going elsewhere because it's so expensive to shoot in California. So I think that even though the film industry started here, this is the movie capital of the world, this state, you can't compete because you can be getting 30%, 40% back from other states for your whole budget, which is just insane, because you just cannot compete with in other states. One of the story, which is I can't remember the name of the title of the movie, which is about the 13 firefighters who were killed. It's just been made. Josh Brolin was in it. Brave Soul. Brave. Yeah, so it's just been released. It's got an amazing cast. So it's Miles Teller, Josh Brolin. That story was about 13 firefighters from the same town where we shot Frank's story, and they are so upset that they filmed that story in New Mexico. They took everything. They got a few shots around Prescott, which is the town where it all takes place. Everything else was shot in New Mexico, and the locals there are just they all know people who were lost in that fire, and to take that story, which is so personal to them, into another state, it was heartbreaking to them. And so they were thanking us for keeping Frank's story in Arizona. We're gonna make sure we have a screening in their hometown so everyone locally can watch it. But it's just one example of how state to state it just differs, and it's whoever can offer the best deal. And most TV shows now being shot in Georgia. The Walking Dead shot in Georgia, the Stranger Things, Georgia. They're just attracting. In fact, a lot of people who are based in Hollywood, lawyers and entertainment attorneys, they're all being based in Georgia now. They'll move to be based there. So Georgia's almost like the new Hollywood. So I think at the moment, California's got a lot to do to kind of compete with that, and a lot of the other states that offer tax incentives. I think LA will always be, and Hollywood will always be, the movie capital of the world, but that is being lost. Year by year, they're losing more people to other states. So I would always do whatever I can in my power to keep it here, because I'm all about the tradition and history of Hollywood. I grew up, just educating myself on the films going from the silent era. I think you can't replace that. And I think that if there's one thing that America has lost, is tradition and history. And I think that being such a modern country, not enough importance is attached to tradition and history when it should be.
So speaking of Hollywood,
I wanted to say something actually real quick. Put a little energy. I wanted to say it was incredible for this Make-A-Wish Foundation. You did an incredible job. I want to give it back to you. And both of my parents, bless you. Give it up for them. Give it up. It's such an incredible, touching story, and something so prevalent to me. Both my parents both moved on from cancer in the last 15 years. So, you know what, I'm a real product of understanding exactly what it means to be able to let go and to be able to have that choice and to be able to watch your parents move on and really, you watch them deteriorate, there's nothing you can do. And for me, it's just a certain amount of surrender that comes there. Do you want to see your people tortured? Do you want to see them there as a vegetable? Right? What kind of life is that for anybody? And do you love them so much that you allow them to just flounder there in a helpless state and not be able to have any kind of life? What kind of life is that, right? So I really, the whole Make-A-Wish Foundation and what they've done with being able to help these kids and people with terminally ill, problems, be able to have that last wish come true, it just means the world to me. And I'm just so grateful to be involved. You did a great job in the movie. You really paid homage to it. And I thank everybody. And I just share that because we got there. Rob, I'll leave it to Mike Manning here on the panel first, and then we're going to go to that question, okay?
I just want to say, because the intersection of Hollywood and politics doesn't often connect
And I just want to take this opportunity, if you're serious about it, there are states, Atlanta, New Mexico, Louisiana, that have a template. So if you're interested, learn about what's working in those states. And obviously California, I mean, with a greater population there, you have some difficulties, but we also have mountains, we have beaches, we have cities, we have, you know, this state can be so many things. And for the people that cherish tradition, I mean, there are so many unions with the Screen Actors Guild, Producers Guild, the Directors Guild. There are so many unions that would support you if you took a strong stance on bringing entertainment jobs back to California. So keep with that, and if you want to talk about that afterwards, let's connect, because I feel like that's a great idea.
John Leslie Brown here, live at the Les Brown Experience Harvard Effect Tour. The line is around the corner. It's serious game time right now. We got living legends in the building. Dwight Pledger, how are you, brother?
Oh, I'm good, JL. How you doing?
You, man. You bought my first product. High hopes for your future. You put me on the map, man.
That's right.
I gotta say thank you, man. I appreciate you,
Yeah, you
brother.
come a long way, young man.
Yes,
all right,
indeed.
all right.
Indeed. Can you talk to the people? Just can you say hashtag Harvard Effect? Talk about my journey and that you've seen me developing.
Hashtag Harvard Effect. This is Brother Dwight Pledger, and I've known this young man for a number of years. And the first conversation I had with him, I told his father, I said, that young man held one of the most intelligent conversations for his age that I've ever had with someone at that age and at that level. And I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that the greatness that was in this young man, as it began to pour out year after year after year, it was going to get exponentially better. And I just thank God for the Harvard Effect, because he graduated from Harvard with honors up in here. And I know Harvard is a metaphor, okay? So we have a lot of people out there that are experiencing the Harvard Effect. No, you didn't go to matriculate through some institution, but the greatness on the inside is wiser than the wisest of men in anybody's school.
Wow.
Because it's wisdom from above. And John Leslie has that gift. He's got his father on him with steroids. So we don't know where he's gonna take it, but it's
go ahead and rock the glasses for him. Let him see our own glasses.
Okay, all right. Okay.
The Harvard Effect lenses. There he is. There he is.
Man, I feel smart already. yeah, all right.
Thank
Okay,
you,
my
sir.
brother. God bless
Appreciate you.
The Harvard Effect. The Harvard Effect. The Harvard Effect.
We deem you Harvard worthy. And Sally said, those are the good ones.
This is D. Lambert. Tell them about today.
It was wonderful, and I learned a lot, and I'll be better because of it.
2 million years of our evolution was about big-brained people in small groups worried about food, shelter, and safety. And if the anthropologists are right, those populations of people, for the most part, had 20 free hours a day or more because the food supply was abundant. Happiness was, in fact, their definition. The evidence that we can collect as best we can was that people were happy.
But I want to bring the energy up in this room, okay? So I need your help as they get my microphone ready. And don't worry, when you give it to me, I might break it again. I want you with power and conviction to say, it's your time. There's a rhythm to this, people. Come on, join in. Everybody say, it's your time. It's your time.
And that was a result of having food, shelter, and safety. Then along came the agrarian age, starting about 6,000 years ago and varied around the world, when people discovered they could replant seeds and the best crops would reproduce more plentiful. And for the first time in human history, you could create specialists.
And Dean Lambert, let's give him a tremendous round of applause. Yes. And John Leslie, give him a round of applause. Boy. I've never seen that presentation, John Leslie. You shocked me. I've got to bring my A game up in here. Shake someone's hand on your right and left, look them in the eyes and say, you have greatness in you. Do that right now.
And it was the very beginning of civilizations, and the definition of success got much more complicated. Is success growing the crops, harvesting the crops, moving the crops, storing the crops, reallocating the crops, raising an army, learning how to write for the first time? The definitions of success suddenly got much more complicated. We're lucky as a species because we had these great big brains and our language grew with it. And we were able to accommodate that. And then a really interesting thing happened just 250 years ago. We started the Industrial Revolution for real. We figured out how to tame energy and apply energy to our activities systematically. And the industrialization of the world, the definition of success changed again. And for the first time, the definition of success moved more and more to accumulating things. Before that, the power and wealth of the world was in he, at the time, who controlled the land. He who controlled the land controlled the distribution of the food and could control everything else. When we went industrial, suddenly the people who controlled the mines, the people who built the factories, and the people who controlled the supply lines between them started to control everything. The merchant class came into being in historical terms, and the nature of wealth in the world changed, and suddenly the definition of success got much, much more complicated. So complicated it included coming across oceans and finding new lands to grow on. And you can just think, just all of you have read some history as to how complicated that definition of success got. And then there was a magical moment.
Remember, I did a radio show at CBS, and I asked them to allow me to do my show from home, like Dave Ramsey, and they said no. So I called the caterer in and had a party for them at lunchtime. And they said, what's the occasion? I said, I'm going in another direction, and you can't go. Y'all about to make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. You about to make me act a fool. Up in here, up in here. And so I quit that day in the middle of the recession, all right? Making 6 figures. You hear me? And they said, you can't be quitting. I said, yes, I only do things that I love. And you're not making this fun for me anymore. So I want you to think about your goal in your dream, because my goal was to buy my mother a home. And that's when I began to study, how do you begin to create a life that you love? I would call that success, a life that has impact, as Dean Labert talked about, and a life that you can be of service to others, make a difference, and create wealth. How many of you like to do that? Raise your hands, please. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you will help you to begin to do that. This is my mother. Isn't she beautiful? Yes, and that's my twin brother. She adopted us first, and then she adopted 5 others. And so which one am I, on the left or the right? Of course, I'm the cute one, all right? Yeah, I'm on the left, okay? And so my mother raised us, but this person, Mr. Leroy Washington, he made a difference in my life as well. And so I learned some things about him, and he said, if you want to be successful in life, he talked to me and shared these things with me because of when he met me, what was going on in my life. When they said, he's Leslie, he's the dumb twin. I was labeled educable mentally retarded and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade and failed again when I was in the 8th grade. I don't have any college education, but because of my mother, Mr. Washington and Mike Williams, they influenced me. And among the things that he talked about, and I think it's very important for all of us today, in this day of the late Peter Drucker called the era of the 3 C's, accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. Write this down: mindset, resiliency.
So complicated it included coming across oceans and finding new lands to grow on. And you can just think, just all of you have read some history as to how complicated that definition of success got. And then there was a magical moment. It was a magical moment that I use as an American moment when we attached a machine to a plow and we industrialized agriculture. Since the day we attached the first machine to a plow in the world population has increased from 1% to 100%. 99% of all the people that live in the world at any one time now never existed before the first machine was attached to a plow. Now I want to talk about the complexity of what success is when you suddenly have 9,900% more people. And I mean suddenly.
There are 3 curriculums of success. You see, first you have the dream stage. Raise your hand if you know about the dream stage. If you've ever had a dream, when you have a dream, it'll keep you up in the middle of the night with a smile on your face. Oh no, when you got a dream in your life, you walk differently. You speed up when you walk because you know you've got somewhere to go. When you've got a dream, you know how to make know your vitamin because it was nothing that can stop you. Raise your hand if you know about the dream phase. Everybody say dream. Yes, I know about the dream phase. Matter of fact, my dad wrote a book called Live Your Dreams. And I remember saying, you know, I hang around him all the time, but what's in this book? And I came across a quote in the 3rd chapter, and it shook me to my core. It said, everybody's born unique, but most of us die copies. I'll say that again if you didn't catch it on this side of the room. Everybody's born what? Unique, but most of us die copies. And I believe that dream phase, write this down, dreams are the data of your identity. Your dreams are here to tell you who you are. When you look in the mirror and you see that flesh and bones, that's not who you are. But behind that, there's a dream in me. I know about having a dream. And when you get exposed to that and when you have that, it changes the way you live. But after you move to the dream phase, and many people get stuck dreaming, that's not enough. You move from dream to destiny. Everybody say destiny. That's when you learn what it takes to bring your dream to life. That's when you turn an executive summary into a global enterprise. That's when you move past just dreaming about it and find out the necessary habits and attitudes in order to create it, in order to create something that really matters, that's profitable in this free market enterprise system that we live in today. And I believe, raise your hand if you know you have a destiny. Raise your hand. Okay, great. Write this down. If you don't claim your destiny won't claim you.
Hey, I'm Peter Dyrud. I'm the president of the Harvard Graduate Council, and I'm a PhD student in public policy, focused on international relations here at Harvard. So I first met John Leslie Brown about a year ago, and after one of his speeches, we were hanging out late at night, a few of us, and came up with the idea of the Harvard effect that he brought up, just thinking about different aspects that we can apply to people's lives to really inspire them to reach the point where we are here, because really the students who got into Harvard, there isn't necessarily something that separates us from everyone else in society. And I would love to see John Leslie Brown's book reach more people in the American public, for more people to embrace that dream that they themselves are capable of getting in and flourishing in an environment like this. Because I really believe that the more diverse experiences we have here and backgrounds we have here, the stronger and the richer each of our experiences here will be. So please go check out the book, and you definitely won't be disappointed.
Human beings have been on Earth for 2 million odd years. 6,000 years ago they planted the first seed. 150 years ago they attached a machine to a plow. In 150 years, all of the people that have ever lived at one time have been born. How do you define success in an environment like that? How do you define success in an environment where all of a sudden, and the United States had a civil war over this, the shift from an agrarian society to an industrialized society to a mechanized agrarian society, a shift in the US population and developed countries' population from 90% of the population living rurally on farms to 80% of the population living in urban areas. How do you define success in that? Many of you know those people. Your parents or your grandparents grew up during that time. This definition of success got a whole lot more complicated. There are millions of definitions of success. And now let's talk about where we are right now. because this is what I'm intensely interested in my current definition of success for me, which includes saying that if Harvard can issue an undergraduate degree through the extension school for $44,000 and a graduate degree for $24,000, and we can do that sustainably at Harvard's quality, anybody can. Any school, every school. So my personal definition of success is not just about doing a great job at the extension school for all of you, but I want to inspire and lead the rest of the education industry globally so that we can serve the 37 million Americans who never finished college and bring them into the knowledge economy, and 2 billion corollaries that are emerging globally that the world cannot educate today.
Developing my knowledge, say K. See, if you don't develop your knowledge, knowledge is the new currency. You can't create any movement toward your dream in your life. Let us say A. A stands for attitude. They did a study. The study indicated, after studying over 3,000 top achievers and entrepreneurs, what was the common denominator among them that enabled them to reach their goals? And what they discovered, their mindset, their attitude. And I had the mindset and attitude, I can do this. As you think about your dream right now, let us say together, I can do this. I can do this. And so as you do that, things begin to happen for you.
What just happened? We're number one on Amazon! We did it, baby! First book released in 21 years. It's so exciting.
We went to number one in like 2
Oh
hours.
my God, hold on a second. We're number one on Amazon! And he really has a dynasty mindset. People that get stuck in their dreams and get stuck in their destiny so many times, they work so hard, they end up working themselves into an early grave. And they can't enjoy their success. And so I want you to think long term. There's a term called black sky thinking that people use in the space industry. They said that blue sky thinking, they think outside the box. But blue sky thinking is the cousin of straight line thinking, okay? Black sky thinking takes you beyond current capacities so that you can be innovative and remain on the cutting edge. Everybody say 100-year plan. So I started to think about it. Where should this plan be? Where do you put the plan? Is it something that you can write down on paper? Well, everyone in this room knows they stopped using paper in the 90s. So where do you put it? Can't be a website. We're not paying for hosting or anything. Can't even be the cell phone, because what if your phone drops and your screen breaks? That's not going to cut it. Guess where? You should put your 100-year plan in the only unhackable place on this planet. It's not the cloud, it's your mind. Put your 100-year plan here. And I believe it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to take a lot of pages. But people, have you ever heard of an elevator pitch? Yes, an elevator pitch, even though if you make a business plan, it could be very many pages. You can have a lot of documents. But nothing is more powerful in business than your elevator pitch. No one's going to read all of that. I believe don't just have an elevator pitch. Make a dynasty pitch. Turn your 100-year plan into a positive statement that's between 30 seconds and a minute. And don't be afraid to unleash your dynasty on people. Everybody say H. 100-year plan. A. Allow yourself to fall. Allow yourself to fall. Many people remember the story. When I was 9 years old, I was playing this gentleman that I called my father in a game called Connect 4.
But we live in a world now of 7 to 10 billion people. We're going to have to feed them during times of abrupt climate change that we probably can't stop. No matter how careful we are, the rest of the world aspires to what we have in America and in the Western world, and they're going to get it. China just admitted they had underestimated their coal consumption by 20% over the last decade. That's 500 million tons of CO2 that we didn't know about. So we probably aren't going to stop climate change, but we've got to feed 7 billion people, and we're not going to feed them based on industrialized agriculture. We're only going to feed them through knowledge.
And we are live on Facebook.
Hello guys, how's it going?
From Boston. We are here and I'm so excited to be introducing you all to one of my colleagues, mentors, one of the people that I look up to. Brother Alex, please introduce yourself to the world.
Well, I am Alex Rodriguez. No, I'm not the baseball player, but I'm still Alex Rodriguez. I am an attorney here in Boston. I also graduated from Harvard. We met last year at a Harvard event where I was a vice president of the Harvard Graduate Council. And John Leslie, he came over here and he really empowered students. His message was something that resonated with students. John Leslie, we had over a few hundred students there that were just, I don't know, it was this magical moment. And ever since that magical moment, we've stayed in contact to figure out how we could bring that magical moment to you, how to take it way beyond the room that we were at. And I think that's what's happening right now. Shortly afterwards, John Leslie calls me up. He's very excited. We all know John Leslie's very excited, passionate. He's like, yo, the Harvard effect. This is what we're gonna do. What are you talking about, John Leslie? He's like, the Harvard effect. And he broke down every single word for it. And it made sense. It was something that, you know, that Harvard effect. It's not something that's just for Harvard students, for Harvard alums. It's something that just defines success. Really looking inside yourself to figure out, having a platform to help you figure out what your goals are, what your 100-year plan is, where you see yourself, and not only where you see yourself, but how you figure out what you see of yourself in those next 100 years. It's not something that you could just sit down for 20 minutes to write down. It's something that takes work, and having that type of structure to help people reach that and figure that out, it's something phenomenal, man. It's a way to help people reach their highest potential.
The richest place in the world is not where they have the oil wells in the Middle East or the diamond mines in South Africa. The wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard, because there you'll find books never written, greatness never developed, talents never used. If y'all ready for Platinum Spoon, make some noise! Sometimes I'm still missing my silver spoon. I was raised with a silver spoon, but gave it all away just to make some platinum songs. Don't you wanna hear my platinum song? And I can't go wrong. I ain't grow up on no welfare. I'm one of the few black kids that had health care. I never spent a cent. My papa started a branch of the family tree that wasn't rooted in poverty. I guess I took it for granted. I started riding in limos just to cut a demo. I thought my life was enchanted until I got demoted. There's no nest in showbiz, so go get some more kids so they don't gotta make the same mistakes that I live. I was raised with a silver spoon. Now I'm written out somebody's living room. The game kept cheating on me, but I'm still a groom. In the streets sleeping on me, even though I'm the alarm. Maybe if I didn't up and lead a mansion, the ants in my pants wouldn't keep dancing. I was raised with a silver spoon, we gave it all away just to make some platinum songs. Hope they listen to my platinum song, but sometimes I'm still missing my silver spoon. I was raised with a silver spoon, we gave it all away just to make some platinum songs. Don't you wanna hear my platinum song? And I can't go wrong. Maybe if it didn't up and lead a mansion, the ants in my pants wouldn't keep dancing. But I know that my life is an anthem, so I'ma keep living like I'm Obama's grandson. You ain't nothing but a lame McCain if you think that I can't do what ain't been done before. before. I could've just stayed up in the condos, but I escaped my comfort zone for the cargoes. Ass clad and spelled my bad habits. They left me in the middle of the night without my daddy. Used to be Tiger Woods, now they treat me like a caddy. Didn't know this rapping would put me back on the Smiley Show. Cabbage knew me when I was little. Now I'm coming back with a message from the ghetto. Maybe even middle class, bumping in the Cadillacs. In the world to know why they call my hopes high. I was raised with a silver spoon. We gave it all away just to make some platinum songs. Hope they listen to my platinum song, but sometimes I'm still missing my silver spoon. I was raised with a silver spoon. We gave it all away just to make some platinum songs. Don't you wanna hear my platinum song? Then I can't go wrong. My daddy's worked over 60 mil, but wouldn't give me 60 shit to stop from getting killed. Cause he say the straightest I'ma build. Won't get noticed if I'm waiting on his will. Silver spoon couldn't put me in the White House. Now my platinum song about to have a sight step. Silver spoon couldn't put me in the White House. White House, yeah. About to reach the White House, I only speak Michelle. Sisters better get behind a brother that can sell. Can I keep my soul when I'm speaking from my gut? When I go platinum, the streets know what's up. Got a niece named Diamond, that's why I'm rhyming. Money ain't a thing, gotta keep the chain shining. Just because I dropped the silver spoon, they never thought I'd pop back with a platinum song. I was raised with a silver spoon and gave it all away just to make some platinum songs. Hope they listen to my platinum song, but sometimes I'm still missing my silver spoon. I was raised with a silver spoon, we gave it all away just to make
We had a full day. Some in studio, and some on stage, and some back horse boogieing. This is California. This is the land of artists, artistpreneurs, ministry, music, movies, and motivation. That's what we're all about. That's why I live this day. First family in California. With the campaign, he raised me more than my dad right here.
Lies. False. It's all false.
Oh no, you know what? The name of the album that I just recorded in the studio and the cameraman, the cinematographer will attest to this. It's called No Sleep Till Stockholm.
Oh wow, I remember that. Yeah,
Tell them about that.
that was a poster I had in my room, The Roots, and I really like The Roots. They're a great band. Play for Jimmy Fallon now. They're great. Awesome artists.
And our motto was
No Sleep Till Stockholm.
just like that. No Sleep Till Stockholm.
I was out the front corner of the store. Y'all asses on the stage right
Leslie Brown, everybody! Come on, show them some love. This guy's all that.
We've got a very special celebrity author with us today, best-selling author John Leslie Brown of The Harvard Effect.
It's your time.
He's an author, he's a speaker, he's a trainer, and he's a great son. My son, John Leslie.
Recently named one of the top 40 speakers under the age of 40 in America, John Leslie Brown knows how to deliver every time.
Say it, John Leslie.
the human will, that force unseen, the offspring of a deathless soul, can hew a way into any goal.
Stretch yourself, because you can't fit a big dream into a small life. So please stand to your feet for the Emmy Award-winning motivational speaker.
Everybody's born unique, but most of us die copies.
And I am here to remind you of the greatest inheritance that you can ever receive, that there is greatness in you. There is greatness in your family. No matter what you've been through or what you go through, if you can stick together as a family, as a village, you can make it through.
We are the first family of motivation. There is greatness within you. It's your time to start sowing some seeds of hope that can create generation after generation after generational wealth. Who in here can believe that they were born not just to take their best gifts with them, but to create generational wealth? Everybody say generational wealth. Generational wealth.
We are bringing forward the legacy that is going to take forward not only America, but the whole of humankind.
And if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it.
So, but when I saw you holding my grandson, Anna, and you were talking about what it meant to be a father, and I saw the tears of joy and gratitude that you felt as you held him, I knew then that a new John Leslie was emerging. You used to have your locks, they were all the way down your back, and you decided to cut your locks off. Why? You know, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I said, this has got to be an optical illusion.
I don't want to waste any time talking about hair.
Discipline yourself, and others won't have to.
And if you gladly sweat for it, and fret for it, and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it.
The only reason why I have the privilege and the honor to stand in front of greatness is because Mamie Brown's spirit, Mamie Brown's lessons, Mamie Brown's stories, they live in me. You're thinking about your success. There will be things that happen to you and you ask yourself, why me? Why does this have to happen to me? Don't you know I'm working on being successful? And you might lose your footing, but your 100-year plan is not about what you're going to get while you're alive. Your 100-year plan is all about how will the world be different because you were born. A dynasty mindset. People that get stuck in their dreams and get stuck in their destiny so many times, they work so hard, they end up working themselves into an early grave and they can't enjoy their success. And so I want you to think long term. There's a term called black sky thinking that people use in the space industry. They said that blue sky thinking, they think outside the box. But blue sky thinking is the cousin of straight line thinking, okay? Black sky thinking takes you beyond current capacities so that you can be innovative and remain on the cutting edge.